So I just want to share a thought with regard to Job, I guess. There's a passage where he says, "The thing I feared most has come upon me," um, and so I just want to say, for me, much of my life, work, and ministry has been dealing with people with mental health issues. And while I've never been a mental health professional per se, um, that's where a lot of my experience lay. And of course, that overlaps with addictions too. And so I grew up with a granddad who he was what they called shell shocked, and he was quite ill in and out of hospital as a result of his psychiatric issues, and that manifest themselves during the war, while he was on an anti-aircraft gun, or supposed to be. He was I'm told he was found when an officer came to check. He was curled up in the fetal position and entirely overwhelmed, and he was reassigned after that. But so I've always had a fear. My granddad was a lovely and God-fearing person, um, and very kind. But I've always had a fear my whole life of mental illness and its impact in my own life, which has been there, but not as overwhelming as I'd feared. But also dealing again and again with people with mental health issues, and I feared it, and time again, and then eventually my most of my ministry ended up just immersed in dealing with people who were struggling. And number one, it hasn't been as terrible as I'd feared in most cases, and other times it's been quite awful, and those stories have taken turns for the worse. But I can't help but wonder if my own fear around that, and watching my granddad, and wondering, what does this all mean, and why can't he make it? Number one, I often thought, man, I wish I could go back and speak hope and life in ways that I'm not sure he heard. And also, there's just access to so much more in terms of, well, there's greater understanding, there's greater care today. So sometimes I wish that. But sometimes that thing that you fear the most is precisely where God will call you, where God will position you. So I dreaded that, and nonetheless found that God positioned me there. And I hope in many cases I've been a help, and been able to be a representative of Christ. But in that, in so doing, I've been a presence of peace in the midst of that. And so, I don't see an end to that part of the work that I do. Um, anyway, I just wanted to share that. Just thinking about my granddad, and thinking about um, a young man, with um, setting out in life, starting off in life. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was exciting, the prospect of traveling and all those things. But being a little farm boy, and you get a letter in the mail, and you've got to go across the ocean and fight this thing, and what all that means. And then you you have this psychological thing happening, and then so much hope, and what mental illness did to his hopes as a young man soon after that, having kids and having a family. And anyway, I would just say, when we see those things um, as ambassadors of Christ, let's charge in with his love in those places that are rough, in those things we wish we could hide for our faces from, um, because the love of Jesus does make the difference. So anyway, just a thought. Thank you. Bless you.